Okay, so we're here on the banks of the Bonnie Deveron, a great place and one of my favourite rivers, the river that I really grew up on. I used to fish when I was young, and we're on the lovely Leathers beat of the river today on Deveronside Fishing, and I'm lucky today in that I've got a good friend here, Jim Cruickshank, and he's the owner of this beautiful, beautiful beat. And we're just going to have a wee blather with Jim, and we're going to talk a wee bit of fishing, Jim. So when was your first involvement with this beat, Jim? Just give us an idea.
I suppose my first involvement was maybe more than 60 years ago, as a kid.
Aye.
With my father, I used to plead with my father to take me fishing.
Aye.
But that's a long time ago, and we fished on the other bank here at this very pool at Carnoustie. And then the fishing was sold, and there was about a 40-year gap.
Yes.
When we didn't get access to the fishing, and by a quirk of fate, many years later, the beat came for sale, and we were lucky enough to be able to buy it.
Yes.
And much against the accountant's advice and against the head, but the heart won, as you will understand.
I know that feeling only too well, but it's funny because fishing takes out all this passions in you, and it's something that's ingrained in us all, again. And I think when you've got something like this, that you've got a link from a way back, again, then suddenly you have the wherewithal to fortunately be able to acquire it. And run it the way that you want to run it. So, Jim, fit about the changes for the early days. You said there was a 40-year period for you couldn't really get access, but now I really like the way that you're running this beat now. I think it's very different. It's refreshing in so many ways. Okay? But tell me, from your perspective.
Well, it's the biggest change, I suppose, is that there are fewer fish.
Yes.
And people used to come to fish.
Yes.
And like it or not, we've got to accept that there's not as many fish. But if you've got fewer fish, they become more special fish.
Yes.
And they're prized, and I would like to think are respected a bit more.
Yes.
So we've been, the way things unfolded, several beats came on sale together. So now we've got an extensive stretch of fishing, and it's enabled us to reduce the number of rods on the river. And we have gaps, but it doesn't excite me to fill them and have pools fished every day, because I think it's just as useful to be able to rest pools for a day. So we've got fewer people coming to fish.
Yes.
And we'll catch less fish. But I'd like to think that the people that do come have a better chance of getting a fish when they're fishing.
Well, it's really interesting, Jim, because that model is, I mean, as you know, I take some people up to Iceland and do some fishing in the summertime. And in Iceland, as far as I'm concerned, I know that we've still got more fish here in Scotland than there. But what they do is they manage the rivers there in a really soft way, and so pretty much following the model that you have. So, how many? So you've got extensive beats here, Jim. So over the whole length of your beats. So how many rods would you fish? So your beats are how long?
We've got, I suppose there's about 7 miles from top to bottom, but we basically have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 6 beats in total. But one of them only, we tend to have a syndicate fishes in rotation, and we tend to have maybe guests in the main lodge might take 2 of the beats and only fish 4 rods, just to spread it out. So there's never, it's never fully fished.
The things that I do in Norway as well, they manage the rivers totally the opposite way to fit the do in Iceland, and at this moment in time when the numbers are lower, then it's better, I think, anyway, to be doing what you're doing, and it provides people a fantastic experience, I think. I mean, this beautiful river here that you have, and for us to be able to come here today with Glenda and put her into that pool. And we both knew she would hook into a fish. No doubt about it. That pool's been rested. You told me first she would get a fish. It was I mean, a fantastic way of managing the fishery now, I think, anyway. Okay?
But if you think you're lucky to come here, I think I'm lucky to come here every time I come down here. So we're only looking after it for a while, we're lucky enough to do that.
For me, Jim, I've always liked your passion. It's the same. I can feel it the same as myself. Okay? It's a genuine passion for the heart that you just love the place, and for that it all rubs off. Okay, for the people that are visiting as well. Okay?
I like to think it does, because it was unusual when I was a kid for any of the river proprietors to actually. Maybe they didn't have guests or they didn't private guests, but you never got any interaction with them.
No.
And just to come down and share experiences. I would like to think our guests benefit, but I benefit from just meeting lots of nice people.
And you're turning your hand to being a gillie now as well, Jim. I'm hearing that you're doing a wee bit more gillie.
Well, I'm fulfilling my life's dream.
Absolutely.
I've been I've promoted myself. I used to think you're an easy job.
Oh my God, that's not an easy job.
Once you start putting pressure on yourself to get somebody a fish, but it's fun.
It is. And I think the salmon, I mean, they're a fish. There's so much mystery about them anyway. And at the end of the day, it's not like any other fish that I can. Because other fish are feeding, these things aren't. So if it switches them on and switches them off, and they're just a magical fish. And so to have that interaction with guests as a gillie is just...
I hope we never find out what this fisherman.
100%.
Because it's the challenge and the uncertainty. And if you were just going to go in here and catch a fish to order, you might as well go to a still water fishery.
Well,
it's stopped.
Wouldn't be doing it.
No, but you need to put in the hours and think that you're using a bit of craft, whether it's rubbish or not. But you feel you've earned that fish. If you have to work hard for it, it means all that more.
Yes. And so about the fishing itself, Jim, is it kind of on your beats, have you got like favourite flies, favourite techniques, or any of that kind of thing? Because I hear so much written in articles about this, that and the next thing, but so have you any like favourite flies that you would use here for different times of year?
Yeah, we've all got our favourites. It tends to be the one we've got fish.
Tell me. You catch a lot of fish.
It's not just telling you, I'm telling other people as well. That's my problem. No, we all have our favourites, and it varies from year to year. I think, like this pool here, with Glenda, if you go down, there's probably 2 or 3 flies. Maybe different colours, different size, maybe a sunk tip or not. But you'll go down with your favourite fly and not catch anything. But don't go home. No. Just rest it. Try a different fly, a different depth, and see what happens. But you know, we have a common good friend, Edwin White, who ties some beautiful flies, and he's a beautiful character. He is. And the fact that you're taking a fly that somebody's made for you, it's got an identity of its own anyway. It's not something that you just bought out of a shop. So you want that fly to catch a fish. So I'm a great believer, and most of the flies I use would be Edwin's creation.
Well, it's similar to myself. I tied a lot when I was younger, and I mean old Jonathan Taylor doing it Forglen, and he kind of quite liked the way I tied, because it wasn't conventional, to be fair. I mean, I just tied them up myself, and my version of a Hairy Mary, or what I thought was a Hairy Mary back in the late 70s, was nothing remotely like a Hairy Mary. However, it caught fish. And he really liked that flea. And one of the ones that we used down there was a little thing, and it was like a prelude to a cascade. But very lightly dressed. Very lightly dressed. I mean,
keep them supple.
Stands. Aye, absolutely. I mean, so about that here, Jim, have you got any preference? Because I mean, I know for a fact that I like a lightly dressed fly in general. Not all the time, but in general.
Me too. I don't see the point in dragging a bush across the water. No. And sometimes it can look like that.
Absolutely, and it looks a wee bit like a canary, maybe getting hauled through the water.
And I think it needs to be streamlined and sort of smooth, silky, sort of look to it. But if you just put whatever colour the water is, put your fly in the water and just look at it for a minute.
That's good
and
advice.
think would you like that or not?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we can speak for hours about it, and probably we're speaking rubbish because the fish will make up his mind. But the only advice what I do, whether somebody else chooses to do it or not, if we're out in a group, I'd look what other people are fishing, and I'll just put on something different.
It's the same as me, exactly the same as me.
And they'll say, we've got all our fish in a cascade. And what other flies we're using? No, we just use cascade. And it's quite, especially, and I get it, it's a double-edged sword, but there's nothing more satisfying than a gillie telling you to do something and you do something different.
Just the opposite, aye. And have you been in the receiving end of that since this gillie? And
that's part of the fun.
Definitely. Aye. So, is there anything? I mean, looking forward, Jim. I mean, I think personally we go through cycles in this salmon. And so looking forward, where do you see Deveronside fishing, the River Deveron, because I ken there's some really good stuff happening just now with the Atlantic Salmon Trust, yourselves, with various bits and pieces happening. So where do you see it in another sort of 20 years, say?
Well, science hasn't managed to master nature, and nature will still prevail. And whether it's diseases, bacteria, fungi, virus, whatever, outbreaks tend to go in cycles, and there's a cyclical nature. And I think we've bounced off the bottom, but as long as we don't drop any further in numbers than we are just now, I'm quite relaxed because we've got, and not from an economic point of view, but from a sustainable, enjoyable point of view. As long as we can get one or two fish, we tend to have more and more of the next generation are coming here to enjoy the scenery, stay in comfortable lodgings, enjoy the holiday with fishing. Now, we can manage that. We can almost guarantee that. And a fish is a bonus. There's still, if you like, a traditional old school, which is totally understandable, who can't help remembering the days when there were more fish.
Absolutely.
And we can't expect to match their expectations if they expect what happened 30 years ago. So there's almost two types of fishing. We will have guests who come up and it can be irritating from a gillie's point of view, because at the 1 hour of the day when you have a chance of catching a fish, we're inside dining and wining and enjoying the holiday.
I know it.
But they go home
happy,
delighted, which is the number one thing.
And that's what our job's about. That's it.
If any one of the party in the riverbank's not happy, it rubs off on the rest.
Absolutely.
We're not quite in the entertainment business, but we are in a way. You know, we're there so people can come and enjoy the scenery and relax. And hopefully get a fish.
Yes, it's all about hospitality. And Jim, your hospitality here for our group and everybody that I've seen here and everybody that talks about this place is just first class, absolutely top drawer. And so I can only thank you for the wee blether just now, and hopefully we'll get another blether before too long, Jim.
I hope so. But what you said, another important point there about the hospitality, it's nice, and thank you for your comments, but we've got to be very careful we don't raise expectations.
Absolutely.
The whole, whether it's fishing or accommodation, we want to be understated, keep a bit of mystique, and spread the word of mouth rather than trying to commercialise it and ram down people's throat that if you want to catch fish, you should come here. Doesn't work that way.
Come for the overall experience.
Absolutely.
That's it.
And come to enjoy yourselves, and we'll do your best to make it an enjoyable stay.
Again, for a fact, you definitely will.
I'm still listening for another fish being caught out there. It's time there's another one caught out there.
We'll come off and we'll go and just have a look at the flea. We'll change the flea.
Change it again.
Aye. So anyway, that was a great wee blether with Jim Cruickshank here, the owner, proprietor of Deveronside Fishings, and I'm sure you'll look forward to another wee blether with Jim at a later date.